Yes, I had something all rolled up and everything, and I left it out on the bus. So, I don't know why I was thinking I was going to do it on the bus, but this is the perfect place to do it. So I am Billy Russell from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Amen. Amen.
Greater Friendship Missionary Baptist Church there in Minneapolis, Minnesota for the past almost 13 years. And I'm happy to be here with my wife of 37 years right here.
Yeah.
And we have some of my brothers here of almost 50 years right here.
Amen.
I do have some membership here, and it's exciting to have them with us. I got 3 preachers and a deacon. So you all just raise your hand. The Carriers, Emma Langley, and also Emery is here. So it's an honor to be here. I had a chance to do this because my wife and I have had a chance to do mission trips in Kenya, and we was in Kenya on the last trip. We was talking with this young man who had the experience of coming here to the land, and we made our mind up then that before we go back to Kenya, we got to go to the Holy Land some kind of way. We got to get there. And it just so happened that I have taken classes under Dr. House and had this opportunity to hear him and all his experiences, to read the books and stuff like that. It's because of Dr. House that I'm here. I've had the opportunity to go with other people, but when I saw Dr. House and his experiences and read his material and have sitting on his classes, that's the reason why I'm here. So, Dr. House, I appreciate you doing this, and I'm eternally grateful. So when we go back to Kenya in July, we're going to be able to say we've been there too. So thank you so much. And in this, it's something to be right here in this setting, because the most fascinating story to me is recorded in Matthew chapter 14. After Jesus had fed the 5,000, besides the women and children, immediately Jesus made the disciples get into a boat and go on ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on the mountainside by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. But the boat was already a considerable distance from the land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. And during the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. And when the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. When I think about that, upon reading that story initially, I thought it was just a humbling experience for Peter. Because Peter, he was one that he would just take the lead at everything, just jump out in the middle of nowhere, not knowing what was going on, but he would jump out there anyway. So I thought this was a humbling experience for him. But then when I took a closer look at it, I saw that this was really a tremendous act of faith. When they are out on the boat, in the lake, in the 4th watch of the night, and the storm comes. And as the storm is just at the top of its course, all of a sudden they see something walking on the water. And because of fear, they begin to cry. I mean, these are grown men. These are professional fishermen, most of them. And can you imagine, they are crying out. And then Jesus said, "Do not be afraid. It's me. Don't be afraid." And then Peter said, "Lord, if it's you, then let me come to you." To me, that's a tremendous act of faith. Because, and to have this kind of faith, I think that we're living in that time right now where we need to have that kind of faith, where we're willing to step out believing that God will take care of us. Right. We're living in this season right now. Yeah. And I want to encourage all of you to have that kind of faith. Because you got to, and to have that kind of faith, first of all, you got to be willing to call and ask God to give you that kind of faith. Yeah. You got to have a willingness. Now notice Peter said, "Lord, if it's you, I want to come to you. I want to walk on the water. If it's really you, let me come to you." And then Jesus said, "Come." Now, to really have this kind of faith, you got to have that willingness to say, Lord, if it's you, let me come to you. Now, and I want to suggest, it may not be the waves, it may not be the storm, it may not be the water, but somebody may be facing a financial disaster. There may be trouble in your home or trouble in your marriage, but you got to be willing to say, Lord, if it's you, let me come to you. Let me come to you on the water. Mm-hmm. And then here's the thing about it. When Jesus said, come, you got to, when you get the idea to come, when he says come, you got to be willing to step out and believe it. Amen. You got to step out. Now, here's the thing about it. When you get the go ahead, go ahead. If Jesus said, look, he said to Peter, come on. Mm-hmm. He got the go ahead, and what did he do? He came to Jesus. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, now the variation here, a lot of times we've already gotten the go ahead. He already told us what to do. Well, but we are still waiting on something. We're still like, Lord, if it's really you, then I want you to shake up the water. Lord, if it's really you, then I need you to really turn this thing around. I need you to drop a brick from the sky. If it's really you, and he's already said, come. But then a lot of time, we jump out the boat first, and then we want to say on our way down, Lord, if it's you, then let me come to you. But we've already jumped. But make sure that before we jump, make sure we've gotten the go ahead. Yeah. Before we step in the water, when we get the go ahead, go ahead. But then here's what I really got from it. Now, you got to have a willingness to take that step of faith. And when you get to go ahead, go ahead. But now, I really got this, that if you start to sink, ask for help. Mm-hmm. What did Peter do? He's walking on the, he's actually walking, and I looked out last night and seemed like, looked like I could just see it myself. Because actually I saw a boat out here in the middle of the water last night, and the wind was blowing, and that's what crossed my mind. That here it is, he's walking on the water. Peter got out of the boat. Jesus said, come. He got out of the boat. He did the right thing. He came. But then all of a sudden, when he began to look at the water and the wind, then he took his eyes off Jesus. And I want to say to you that as long as you keep your eyes on Jesus, you won't get disappointed. You won't get discouraged. But the minute you take your eyes off Jesus, then that's when he begins to sink. But the thing about it is, if you start to sink, all you got to do is ask for help. He showed us. He cried out, Lord, save me. Yeah. The minute he realized that he was sinking, he cried out, Lord, save me. I want to suggest to you that somebody here today has taken your eyes off Jesus and you started to sink. And I come to tell you, just ask for help. Well, ask him to save you right now. He will save you right now. I was wondering, I hope I can stand here and tell you, and I know Dr. House, this is a Baptist preacher with a mic in his hand. It'll take a while, but I'm going to close out right here. I was one of the ones who, and Dad had always told me, boy, whatever you do, don't take your eyes off Jesus. Because if you put your eyes on the people will let you down. All right. So whatever you do, keep your eyes on Jesus. I've been pastoring for 33 years. And there have been times when I really got bigger than the message I thought. I thought it was all about me because people were flocking to hear me in revival, the place I was going across the country. I thought it was about me. And I took my eyes off Jesus. I admit that right now. I took my eyes off Jesus and put them on me. All I had to do was just give the message, and everything was going to be centered around me. People were going to flock. They were going to fall out. They were going to shout. They were going to just give hallelujah to the Lord. But it was all about me. I took my eyes off Jesus. Well. And I started to sink. Everything, even in my church, nothing was happening because it was about me. But the minute I thank God today, I was able to realize that God, it's not about me, it's about you. Yeah. And when I put my eyes back on Jesus, I want to tell you, I was in Mississippi. I was in Meridian, Mississippi. And when I put my eyes back on Jesus, and I asked him to extend my coast, enlarge my territory, he landed me in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Amen.
And ever since I've been there now for 12 years, 6 months, 3 days, 26 hours, I've been there for 23 hours. Because I've kept my eyes on Jesus. And you know what? When I thought about this, that now you got to get this. Peter did more than the other disciples did. At least he got out of the boat and walked on the water. Now, they could have talked about him like, now, see that you and all your big headness, you just walk on the water, you just get out the boat. But at least he did something they was not willing to do. He got out the boat. And then, but he walked on the water toward Jesus. But now you got to get this. What happened from the time that we see that he started to sink and Jesus picked him up, caught him by the hand and picked him up. And then the next thing we see, they're back on the boat. What do you think happened? They walked on the water to get back to the boat. In other words, Peter walked on the water toward Jesus. But then he walked back toward the boat with Jesus. In other words, when you begin to realize that I cannot make it by myself, guess what? With Jesus, you can do all things. All things are possible when you put your trust in Jesus. God bless you.